From the Microsoft Office range we have Access. This is known as a database. This is where you can store information. The screen you're looking at is what you'll be presented with the first time you open up Microsoft Access. This is 2016 version, but earlier versions will look very similar. You will have a list of choosing a blank database or using one of the preset databases or templates that Microsoft have already done. You'll have a list of previously opened files, and on the left it will tell you if you want to create a new database or open a previously saved one. We're going to open up a database just so you can see the 4 modules that make up a complete database file. If we click on Open, we can browse and locate from our computer where our stored file is. In this case, I'm going to open up this one called Driving School Master. Now this will bring up all of the objects. If you have a look at the screen, across the top, like all Office products, you have what are called the ribbon bars. You can see at the moment we are on the Home ribbon, but you also have Create, External Data, Database Tools and other such ribbons. Down the left hand side of the screen you will see all of the objects that make up Access. Now there's 4 main objects that create a database, and we're going to look at each one briefly here. If you don't see this panel down the side, it may be that this is collapsed. You can collapse this down by clicking on the 2 chevron button. Here you can see the navigation pane has now collapsed. If we click on the double chevron again, this will then expand the navigation area so you can see the objects. At the top you do get a choice of viewing different objects. If you only want to see the tables, you can click on the drop down and ask it to show only the tables as denoted here, or just the queries, the forms or reports or macros. At the moment I have this one set to all access objects, which is probably the best one to have on when you're designing and building a database. So you can see at the moment it's showing me this section here, which is tables. Now what is a table? The table is the object that holds just your raw data. This could be the names and addresses of your customers. It could be the list of the products that you sell, or maybe the list of orders that you've taken. It is a database. It is a table. If we have a look at the tables, we could have on this one, we have a driving motoring school that teaches people how to drive, and in here you can see we have a table that's called instructor. If I double click, so with your mouse you double click the left mouse button to open up the table. Now as soon as you open up the table you can see it has all of the fields. A field is something such as a title, a surname, first name, an address, a town, a county. Those are what we call fields. When you have a collection of fields in a single row, that's classed as a record, sometimes referred to as an index card. If you relate it back to days before computers and you had a filing cabinet with the index cards, and each card had information about a client or a product or an order. You'll notice at the top it says which table we've opened, the instructor, and there's a little cross that you can click on to close it. If we were to open up the table called student, by double clicking, it shows us all of the students that are currently taking lessons with this particular driving school. Once again, we can close that. We then have queries. Now queries, if we didn't have any queries, if we had 100 students in our table, every time we open that, it would display all 100 students. Sometimes you only want to see certain information. You might only want to see those students that have taken their test more than twice. You might only want to see those students who are under 20 years of age. And that's what a query will do. It will query the table, find what you're looking for, and just display that. So if we look on here, we got several queries, and we can choose query details. When we open this up, this brings up some details about each booking. We can close that as we did with tables. Below the queries, we have forms. Now forms are the front end, and in fact what you're looking at here is a form. If we look down here, we've got several forms. Now this is the front end of a table. Now if you don't have a form, it's often said that a form is used on screen to display one record per screen. Now, although you don't have to stick to that, in general terms, a form shows a single record per screen, almost like looking at the index card of a particular client or product. If we have a look at these, we could open up the form called Instructor. Now you'll notice it's a much more user-friendly view of our instructors. You'll see it gives us all the details and even a picture of the instructor. If you look at the bottom of the screen, you'll see that it tells us how many instructors we have. We're currently looking at record 1 of 5. And either side of this number, you'll see you've got these what we call navigation buttons. And I can click on this button here to go to the next record, and the next record, and the next. I can go back through the records using this navigation bar. A form is used not only to view information cleanly, but it is also used to edit or add records. So from a form, I can click on a button down here to add a new record. You'll notice it gives me a new blank record to fill in another instructor. You can also use this to edit the data that's in there. For example, we have this record here for Miss Sally Geeson. Now it might be that they've changed their home phone number. You can just type in here the new number that they have. If I move away from this record and go back, you'll see it's still got the new phone number in. If we close this form, the final module we have are reports. Now reports are normally used to show multiple records per page. For example, we could view a student report, and as we open this up, you can see it's all ready for printing. It's a report, and if I click on the page with my mouse, I can zoom in, and you can see this is ideal for printing out. It tells me all the information about my students, whether they've passed, when they took their practical test, what gender, and date of birth. Now those are the four main modules. A table holds all the raw data. A query allows you to query that data to find just what you're looking for. A form is something that's on the front end of a database, makes it look much more user-friendly for viewing individual records or editing or adding new records. A report allows you to print out a huge report that has more than one record on, normally a list of records. Now, although there's a lot more to access than just that is what would make up a database. And on this course, we will look at building all of those four modules to make up one database. To close a database, we go to File and Close.